It's 10:15, ABC Radio Brisbane. My name's Rebecca Levingston. If you live with a disability, especially that one that can't be seen, do you sometimes feel that you're not heard or being understood, or perhaps that if you seek professional help or trying to get an answer from a politician or even at your local shops, do you sometimes come across assumptions or miscommunication or flat out ignorance? If that is the case, well, you might be interested in what Chris and Victoria are doing. It's a husband and wife team. They've developed an app to help businesses better communicate and serve their customers living with a disability. Chris Kerrisk is from Cérge. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Rebecca. How are you today?
Really well, thank you. So Cérge, like the surge in Concierge, tell us about it.
So absolutely, what we're trying to reduce is the fear, anxiety and discrimination that individuals with disability endure as customers. It's not a well-known statistic. The greatest source of discrimination faced is from service and hospitality staff.
Wow. So what was the initial sort of trigger for you to come up with this concept, Chris?
My wife, Victoria, was the person that had the original idea, which was to improve customer service. My wife, Victoria, experiences mild anxiety and PTSD and has a level of anxiety going and repeating herself time and time again in stores, trying to get them to provide personalised customer service. And her idea was pretty simple, which is, can't I use my $1,000 computer in my pocket to tell them ahead of time what they need to know about me to reduce that fear and anxiety that I have when I go shopping?
So how would it work? Can you just walk us through a practical example of how the app and the interaction might play?
Absolutely. So it's as simple as you download the app free of charge from either of the app stores, put in your customer service preferences, but most importantly, you put in what would you love the service staff to know about you before you turn up. So let's say, for example, one of your biggest fears is something that we all as Aussies love to do, going to the pub and ordering a beer. Now, if your disability means that you have slurred speech, will you experience tremendous fear and anxiety going to the pub because you're not sure, am I going to get good service or am I going to get asked or refused service of that alcohol, because there's an assumption through ignorance that the bartender might think I'm actually intoxicated when, hey, this is my disability and this is my life.
Right.
So if the individual puts that as simple as, my name's Chris, the reason why I slur my speech is because of a degenerative condition or my disability, can you just serve me like a regular customer, please? And that pops up on their point of sale, so the bartender knows exactly how to look after me without inadvertently discriminating.
So the app itself, is it something that the business pays for and customers can access for free? Is that the sort of dynamic?
Absolutely. So the app is free, whether it's for an individual with disability, a support worker, a loved one, or just even one of your friends. So the app is free, always will be. The business pays a typical subscription price to put their details onto the platform so that when you're in the app, you can find that participating venue so that you're able to communicate with them up to 60 minutes before you arrive and also as you check in.
You're listening to Chris Kerrisk, who's come up with a concept called Cérge, a way for businesses and customers to better communicate, in particular for people living with a disability, although there might be a whole range of ways that it could be used. Chris, what's been the response from people in the disability sector? What do they think of it?
Absolutely love it, because I understand how it can completely change their lives. And as I mentioned, it's the greatest source of discrimination, inadvertent discrimination coming from service and hospitality staff. And to be able to remove that fear, which is a barrier to participating in the community, is life-changing. And that is definitely the feedback and why we've got such a wonderful group of people supporting us and co-designing our app so it's perfect for them.
I remember having a conversation with a young woman recently who wanted to be like every other 20-something and go out to pubs and clubs. She used a wheelchair, and she said one of the biggest barriers for her was that the toilets for people with disabilities were often used as, places to store boxes, or they weren't open. Is that an example where you could go, hey, I'm coming to your business, by the way, make sure the loo is usable for people who use a wheelchair?
Well, certainly it can be a reminder that that organisation should be doing what they should already have done, which is that bathroom was designed, built, we invested money to make it accessible. So storing boxes is such as a storage room is such a bizarre thing to do. That's a kind term.
It shouldn't happen at all, but my
all.
sense is that it happens quite a lot.
It does, but the one thing that's very important in what we're trying to do is businesses, around their physical accessibility. There's a lot of work, fantastic work, to improve the physical accessibility of venues, whether that's at the aquatic centre, whether that's at the post office, whether that's at the cinemas. There's a lot of great work. But the important thing that we're doing is, if a business put all that money in to make them more accessible from the physical layout or the physical characteristics of the store, if the staff member inadvertently discriminates against that customer the moment they arrive, then why do they even bother? Because the most important thing is when two humans are communicating with each other, and if one human, being the service staff member, discriminates against the customer, well, it doesn't matter what product, it doesn't matter how awesome that product is, because you've just ruined my day, my week, my life by treating me that way. So what we're disrupting and creating is accessible customer service.
Yeah, which should have multiple benefits. And I think it goes to the point that Dylan Alcott, Australian of the Year, constantly has made, even before he had that appointment, which is open your businesses, your clubs, your spaces or whatever to people with disabilities. It's good for business. It's good for everyone to understand and be open about what everyone wants to do. I don't know, how long has Cérge been around for, Chris?
We founded the business in late 2019, and through the original concept was to provide speed and convenience for busy mums when you go fashion shopping. But what we found out through our COVID journey, when we were taking Cérge to early adopters like the White's IGA group on the Sunshine Coast, was we'd much prefer to be using this technology for our customers with disability. Because if someone arrives, 70% of disability is invisible. So if someone arrives at our store with an invisible disability, how do we know? Doesn't matter how great our training has been. If the disability is invisible, how do we know? How do we look after that person?
Yeah.
And so that's why we made a massive change in direction, so that our business is all about providing for service staff to provide personalised service to customers with disability. So
you mentioned IGA there. Have you? What has been the response more broadly from the business sector? Are they actually signing up and paying to have the app?
We've got some remarkable early adopters that are empathetic to their customers with disability and want to make sure that they're providing an inclusive experience for all of their customers. And we certainly are finding a lot of attraction, a lot of adoption, very much on the Sunshine Coast where we're based, but also in Brisbane. We've got clients in Melbourne, and we are on the hunt for early adopters who want to provide an inclusive experience for their customers. Well,
Chris, getting some positive feedback so far. Michelle's just texted in saying, wow, this app is a fantastic idea. My son has cerebral palsy and walks differently, and when tired can have slow speech. He's a young man, frequently judged at hospitality venues and other retail outlets. This app would really assist him to be treated normally, in inverted commas. Someone else, Josh at Arana Down, says, my wife has a brain injury. She makes shirts that say, I have a brain injury. She's been wearing them for the past 12 months, and people are a lot more understanding and patient. Might be a strange thing to broadcast something so personal, but it does make a big difference. So that's Josh's wife's approach.
The great thing with that is, as soon as the service staff member has some information about their customer, then they can approach that relationship through empathy. And that's all we're after, which is, instead of approaching this relationship through ignorance, we're going to give you some essential information at exactly the right time so you can provide empathy and personalised customer service.
Chris, we'll keep in touch to see how things play out, but really appreciate you explaining the concept this morning. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Chris Kerrisk, the co-founder of Cérge, C-E-R-G, inspired by the name Concierge, I guess. They've developed this app to help businesses communicate and serve their customers living with a disability.
ABC Radio Brisbane, keeping local conversations going.